Hello, I'm Adam Forziati. I'm the senior web editor here at Commercial Integrator, and today I'm joined by Brandon Bresnick. He's the assistant communications manager at Premier Mounts. So Brandon, we've been talking a lot on CI about how useful, and important it can be for, integrators to kind of form these alliances, so to speak, with, the manufacturers that they trust the most. So I wanted to start off really by asking you, what you think Premier Mounts as a whole enjoys most about working with integrators, to begin with.
The relationship that the manufacturers and integrators have is definitely pretty integral. We provide great quality products to the people who will eventually be putting them in the applications for end users. And we want to make sure that that's kind of a seamless process throughout, the installation period and the project life. One really big thing between the relationship between the manufacturers and integrators is as long as you keep developing those relationships and being in constant contact with people, you can form instead of just a relationship, more of a strategic partnership. And what I mean by that is, you guys can work hand in hand more closely, more frequently, and kind of build that trust and rapport to make sure that each project that you work together with is successful and comes out to the highest of standards. Another thing between the partnership also is, we really want to work with integrators, kind of understand the needs of their business. For us, it's making great products and kind of getting it out the door when we need it to. But understanding what the integrator specifically focuses on or is kind of looking to accomplish in certain jobs, if we can understand their business needs, it kind of helps us tailor what the solution would be for them. And I would just say probably the third thing would just be the more that we kind of communicate successfully, the more successful outcomes will kind of come out of it. Just being in constant contact, whether it's text message or phone or email or anything like that, if we can hash out all the details up front, we can kind of make sure that we get something that's really great.
So, you're talking about some of those understanding the business from, an outside perspective, coming in and getting to know the integrator and knowing, what they really need. Can you give any examples of what integrators can specifically gain from having that kind of close relationship with the manufacturer?
Yeah, so sometimes the integrators are definitely well versed in their product knowledge, but as a manufacturer, we know small little facets and little insets of our product line that might be able to kind of help you get the job to the next level. So developing an understanding of, hey, this is what the integrator is looking for, but we do have something that might be a better alternative or might kind of suit the needs of the end user a little bit more. We can kind of focus on what our product is for that application. So that way it's just stronger when you get it extended out. Another really great thing is just to make sure that, like I said, the end user is ultimately the key kind of person that we're trying to impress. They have a very specific way of how the room is supposed to be designed or how it's supposed to function. So if we can kind of work hand in hand with their end users as well, and kind of get the feedback and input from them, then we can kind of tailor and say, hey, this is exactly what the end user is looking for. This is what we can kind of tell the integrator that they should use, and then kind of make sure that it gets extended out. And I think another key thing too about working hand in hand with the manufacturer from an integrator perspective is, I mentioned, communication, but communication also helps us catch problems. So when we're able to kind of catch errors kind of throughout, the spec process and kind of the purchase process, it'll end up saving the time and money on the end when the installation actually occurs. So preventing errors up front is definitely a key benefit of integrators working hand in hand with us.
Can you just talk a little bit more about what it's been like to work with integrators on the projects, themselves? That's the critical end, right? You're trying to impress the end user with the project, but what is it like for Premier Mounts to work with an integrator on a project, and what types of things do you have in place as a company to make sure that those experiences go very smoothly?
Yeah, so beyond being a manufacturer, we also want to provide people with a lot of support, and that goes just even beyond customer support. So for example, Premier Mounts has really dabbled in the LED video wall space. We've kind of engineered a solution that, we can either turnkey or we do some custom mount manufacturing as well. But when those video wall projects come to fruition, they're usually of big scale and size. and are usually being placed into, big elements of architectures, whether it's a wall or two walls or on the ceiling or whatever it may be, even from the floor. So what we'll actually do is we'll actually have some of our partners who are trained through our perimeter mounts installation courses kind of go out and walk the site and kind of assess the needs of what the jobs is going to be in its scope. And that way we can kind of develop an understanding and say, hey, we're working with an integrator to install this video wall solution. Here's the elements that we're working with, and here's how we're going to kind of conquer all the variables that might come with that job site in particular. I mentioned our installation training classes. It's a great way for integrators to come to our facility here in Corona, learn about our products and learn about how to tackle problems, when they encounter them firsthand if they're installing it. And then also being like extremely price competitive too. Like we know that we make a great product and we want to see it installed in as many places as we can, but making sure that we can get these products in really, really key facilities, like whether it's a government command and control, we have a special discount for that, or even like education pricing, which is really great too. So if you're doing something that's going to a university or a school, we really pride ourselves in saying, hey, if we can get our products into classrooms and universities and kind of help higher ed and learning in general, we feel like it's kind of benefiting the end user and benefiting students and learning as a whole.